I have to apologize. I know it's been a long time since I posted my last video, but sucking dick and cock. I don't know. I mean, it's just something I do when I ever feel like it, so I don't really pressure myself in regular updates. But today, I felt the fantasy, I felt the urge, I felt the need, and here it goes. So I was thinking about like who would be like my favorite queens if I like had to boil it down, right? And I made a list and it was like, okay, but what if like these people were like on an all-star season? And I couldn't help myself but to think, okay, what if like my favorite queens of all time were to compete against one another? Who would be the best? Like, isn't that exciting? So this is my ghetto pix art collage of these queens. Jesus, it looks so bad. But yeah, I mean, you can see them. They will go into detail about who is in this fantasy all-stars all-time favorite cast. But let's just say there are a lot of stars, not a lot of mall stars. So we have Trixie Mattel. I really like Trixie Mattel. I always did. I know it's really like trendy to dislike her because I guess she's oftentimes rendered to be like a run-of-the-mill, like white mediocre queen, but I do not think so. I think she's very, very funny, and I really like her folk music. Monet Exchange, one half of the chaotic duo that is Sibling Rivalry. I think she's absolutely charming. Then we have Kim Shi, of course, season 8 finalist. Kim Shi is such a visual queen. She's such a superstar and also super funny and super shady. Bob the Drag Queen, the other half of Sibling Rivalry, of course. So love her humor, love her stand-up, love her raps. Great queen. Sasha Velour is also one of my favorites, my instant favorite from season 9. Super artistic, really takes drag to it's like core levels of like an artistic pursuit, which I really appreciate. Katya, I mean, I love her chaotic, random humor. Her and Trixie's show has been more than once like a great source of joy for me. Then we have Miss Cracker. She was like the 10th choice for me on my top 10 favorite queens. I really like Miss Cracker, but I wasn't sure if she really is in my top 10. Put her in now because in a lot of ways I do really like her. Of course, All Stars 5 made it a bit sour because I don't necessarily think she was that likable on it. But I really enjoyed her on season 10. But more than anything, I enjoy her like out of Drag Race work. I think she has a really charming personality. Yeah. Sasha Velour, nope, Shea Coulee is one of the fiercest competitors of Drag Race ever, and somebody that I feel like is really kind, really funny, and really well-rounded. Naomi Schmalzer, one of my all-time favorites. To me, like after Kim Shi, probably the fashion queen of Drag Race for me. There is this appreciation for sort of the, I guess, elegance to drag with her that I find really like intriguing. Like she's all about the posing, about the looking good, about she makes sort of this maybe more 80s 90s supermodel era and combines it really well with the modern aesthetic, and I feel like she does a great job. And super sweet, like she looks like the biggest bitch but is the sweetest person. Adore her. And Jujubee, of course. Jujubee goes off on a tantrum about her cats in any given moment. Super funny. Loved her all the way back on season 2 to All Stars 1 to All Stars 5. So super, super, super fan of her. But yeah, these are my 10 favorite queens. And as you can see, the theme of my season is like a more pink, hot pink to pastel pink kind of a vibe. But yeah, it'll be an all-star season. It'll be the better old format with 2 top all-stars of a week, a bunch of bottom queens, though it'll only be 2 at a time, and then the winner of the top 2 lip sync deciding who of the bottom queens will be going home. So let's do this. Of course, starting with the Old Faithful, the All Stars variety show. With the All Stars variety show, we have, of course, first of all, the benefit that most of these queens have shown us what they would do, or what they have done, of course, besides Kimchi, Bob, and Sasha Velour. I went online and found some performances that I will assume will be what they will do. I would assume that Sasha would do something from her nightgowns tour with a lot of light effects, right? I think I really like this number from Kimchi that she did in like work the world, or like a dragon drive or something. I think Kimchi would do something really performative with an original song, but like very focusing on the visual art of it. And Bob, I think in Pit Stop, said that he would do like a rap called Season 8 Top 1, and I thought maybe he could combine that with this legendary Phoenix number. So these are the performances we will assume these three queens to do. Alright, so for the very first episode, we will have the following order. I will assume that Trixie, Katya, Kimchi, and Naomi will be safe. Trixie will do some singing, Katya some gymnastics, both will be perfectly fine and safe with it. I think Kimchi will wow with the visuals, but since she doesn't like move a lot, I think it'll render to a safe performance, and I think Naomi Schmalze does great voguing, but I think in comparison it wouldn't be enough to reach a top slot. The top slots would go to Bob, Sasha, and Jujubee. If you ever look at like one of the nightgowns performances of Sasha, you will see that it is such a visual conquering of like modern art, drag art, and I feel like it would really be quite refreshing. Bob the Drag Queen would probably do the best bitch track so far ever performed on an All-Stars variety show. And Jujubee singing would finally get the reward it deserves. I am so shocked that she wasn't in the top for it on All Stars 5, but in this iteration she'll get due justice. The bottom queens being then Monet Exchange. We have seen her on All Stars 4. It wasn't bad, but the vocal crack at the beginning will put her in the bottom now. Miss Cracker, she was in the top on All Stars 5 with the Dill song. Don't necessarily get why, to be honest. I thought it was fun, I guess, but it kind of came back to the same issue where we don't really find out a lot about her. And Shea Coulee, because her pole dancing on All Stars 5 I thought wasn't really that strong. Like you could really see that she was struggling a lot of the time, so it wasn't bad. I feel like on a normal season where there wouldn't be so many Titan queens, most of these would be safe, most of these queens, but not on this iteration. I say that the top two of the week be Bob the Drag Queen and Sasha Velour, and the bottom queens being Shea Coulee and Monet Exchange, so Miss Cracker ended up being safe this time around. Because we have two New York queens at the top, I chose Empire State of Mind by Jay-Z and Alicia Keys as the lip sync song. I don't think I'm being a contrarian when I say that Bob the Drag Queen would win this. She's a fabulous lip syncer, and especially maybe with the rap, she would do better. Now, whoever watches Sibling Rivalry or listens to Sibling Rivalry knows that Bob would not eliminate Monet. Like, no matter what. So, even though she probably had the weaker performance of the two, Bob will save his bestie, and Shea Coulee crazily will be the first girl eliminated on this season of All Stars. As the second challenge, I want to do a ball. I was thinking long and hard about what the ball like material would be, and I thought belts would be really cool. I was kind of inspired by Naomi's Lollapalooza look, so a look made entirely out of belts of different fabrics and different forms and styles. Here on the left you can see a belt look that I found online, which I thought was really cool, so I really feel like you could make something out of this. But of course it would be 3 looks since it's a ball, but yeah, let's see what happens. Now we've seen each of these queens perform in multiple design challenges or look challenges. When deciding about who places where, Trixie, Katya, and Naomi all placed safe ultimately. We have some really strong look queens here. So Naomi, even though she's a strong like look queen, I don't think her design would meet the top slots. Trixie and Katya are both seamstresses, but not necessarily designers. But I feel like they would be able to make something safe here. I think that though Kimchi, Sasha, and Miss Cracker would be the top three. Cracker because she does design, she does sew, and she especially works with unconventional materials. Kimchi, of course, is the look queen. Wasn't she like a designer or something, or like a seamstress, a professional one, before Drag Race? Like, this is absolutely up her alley. And Sasha is such a visual queen, such an artistic queen, and she would slay this. Which would, of course, mean that Jujubee, Bob, and Monet would end up being the bottom three of the week, which doesn't come to as a surprise. Monet's looks, I think she does so, but her design challenge on season 10 wasn't really strong. On All Stars 4, there wasn't really a design challenge where she had to make a look on location. The Makeover challenge, she brought the look with her. Bob didn't do that well on the design challenges on season 8. Safe, low, and bottom 2. And Jujubee lip synced for the design challenge and was low there on 1 on All Stars 5. So I think I'm not being crazy with these placements. I would say that Kimchi and Sasha Velour would end up getting the wins this week, with Miss Crack being safe, or at least remaining high. And I think that Jujubee and Monet would be in the bottom. I think Bob could save herself because she is probably the better seamstress of the three. But yeah, it would be a close call. Between Sasha and Kimchi, I thought the lip sync song would be It's Okay to Cry by the late Sophie. I love this song so much, and I feel like it would be such a nice honor for the artist that is Sophie. Kimchi is a horrible lip syncer. Well, okay, that's too harsh, but she isn't known to be a great lip syncer, let's just say that, or like a great performer in this regard. She's a great performer when she can produce the shows, but like in this lip sync format, I think Sasha would win. Now, Jujubee was in the top last week. She wasn't in the top 2, but in the top 3. And Monet was on the bottom 2 last week. And I think Sasha would be fair, so Monet Exchange is unfortunately eliminated. I always really dread the acting challenges, but I thought this time around I will be bringing back an acting challenge that I really, really loved, and that was the acting challenge where they recreate untucked scenes, iconic untucked scenes that they did on season 5. This time around, though, it would be the same layout, but the two changes would be that it would only be untucked scenes from season 5, the most iconic untucked season, and also the fact that we would have them not lip sync would happen, but actually act it out. So they would speak themselves. I would be so excited. I hope they bring that back one day, because of course since season 5 there were so many iconic untucked moments, so please make that happen. Now we have seen pretty much everyone here in an acting challenge. Trixie and Cracker were rendered safe. Trixie did well on All Stars 3. We didn't really see a lot of her acting on season 7, a bit here and there. I think she would play safe here though, and I think that Miss Cracker, though she didn't do that well on it on season 10, but okay on season 5 of All Stars, would play safe. The top 3 though would be Bob, who did amazingly in acting challenges, Jujubee, who generally does well in these comedy challenges, and Katya, who I really think could like exaggerate the sort of more rude, crude character that would be demanded here, which would of course then mean that Kimchi, Sasha, and Naomi would be the bottom 3. Naomi and Kimchi are not known to be great actresses. I mean, we have seen Sex and the Kitty Girl, we have seen Ru Empire, so I think I'm not being crazy here. And Sasha placed low on the 9021 Ho challenge. Yeah, I think ultimately Bob and Katya would be the top two of the week, with Jujubee placing safe here. And I think that Kimchi and Naomi would be the bottom two. Of course, kind of tragic because these are the best friends, of course, from season 8, but now one of them would be going home. The lip sync song I think would be Babylon by Lady Gaga. That would be so fun. And I will give it to Katya because the song is maybe a bit more dancey, and I think Katya would really play that out with her gymnastic background. Now between Kimchi and Naomi, of course Kimchi has had a win under her belt. Naomi was just safe so far. So I think Katya would be fair and eliminate Naomi Smalls. Now we have the comeback episode. Quite early on in this season, I get that, but I hate when there's a comeback episode towards the end of the season, like on All Stars 3, where Morgan McMichaels all of a sudden was top 5, even though she was the first girl eliminated. So I think comeback episodes should happen pretty early on, with maybe like 3 to 4 queens eliminated, instead of that happening like in the middle or late towards the season. What I'm also going to introduce is the jury of the queens or something like that. What is it called? A jury of your peers, right? A jury of your queens then format, where the current All-Stars get to decide which of the eliminated All-Stars gets to return. And the episode would be the eliminated All-Stars each making their case. It would be like a legal setup, really fun. So Monet, Shea, and Naomi would each plead their case, and there would be a vote. I think Sasha would vote for Shea. They're friends, and you could argue that Shea had the least opportunity to show herself and that her elimination maybe wasn't the fairest. I think that Katya would vote for Naomi. She eliminated Naomi. Naomi was the last to go home, so you could argue that that would be safe for her to come back. I think that Miss Cracker would vote for Monet because they're good friends, and a family that drags together votes one's back or something. I don't know, but like I think she would vote for Monet to come back. As would Bob, of course. Kimchi would vote for her homegirl Naomi to come back, and I think that Trixie would vote for Shea to come back. Again, because I would assume that she'd also agree that it was unfair that she was eliminated, that she had the least time to show, and because Trixie and Shea actually grew up in the same drag community. So Jujubee's a tiebreaker. Every queen has gotten 2 votes by now. Jujubee doesn't necessarily have clear ties with either of the 3. So we'd have to go by it objectively. I think Monet's out of the question because she was in the season for 2 episodes and was in the bottom in both. You could argue that Shea's elimination in the first episode was unfair, but she was gone for 2 episodes, whereas Naomi wasn't gone, but she also only ever placed safe or was low. In the 3 episodes she was there. So I would go ahead and assume that she would vote for Shea Coulee to come back, because Jujubee was also quite fair, I would say, and I think that's a fair decision. So Shea Coulee is back in the race. Now we go on to the girl group challenge in the season that I really, really enjoy. Now, since Shea Coulee was the queen that was allowed to return, she gets to be a team captain, and Katya won the last competitive episode and the last lip sync, so she gets to be a team captain. Shea starts, and I think her first member of her girl group will be Sasha Velour, and Katya would choose Trixie. Then Shea would choose Bob. Katya would choose Jujubee because of her singing voice. Shea would choose Kimchi, and then Katya would have to choose Miss Cracker. Now, looking at the team lineups, I think that it wouldn't be too crazy to assume that Team Shea would be the winning team this week. We have 2 performing queens with Shea and Bob, and we have also great lyricists with Shea, Bob, and Sasha. I think Kim would probably also make great lyrics. She probably would be the struggle bus of the team, but she would be carried by the group, which automatically means, of course, that the top 2 will be from that group, which would be, I think, Bob and Shea. I think that's not being crazy if I say these 2 would be the best. a great redemption arc for Shea Coulee too. The bottom being the other group. And the bottom two of the week, I think, would be Miss Cracker and Jujubee. I'm basing that off the fact of their top 4 or top 3 girl group challenges, or like finale performances that every one of this group had. Katya definitely had the best verse from All Stars 2. I thought Trixie's verse from 3 was really good. Don't necessarily think that either Cracker or Jujubee had standout verses. So because of that, I'm placing them in the low positions on the bottom 2. The lip sync song of this week, since we are having a girl group challenge, will be Pussycat Dolls React, and I think Shea Coulee would definitely win this since it's much more dancey. And now, between Jujubee and Miss Cracker, neither one of them has won a challenge so far. This is Jujubee's second time in the bottom though. So what would happen? I think, well, when I was looking at the track records, and both of them actually have the same score by now at this point in the competition. So based on that, track record wise, you couldn't make this definitive decision. There was a voting though last episode, and where Miss Cracker voted for Monet to return, Jujubee was the tiebreaker and voted for Shea to return. So I think to return the favor, she would save Jujubee here and eliminate Miss Cracker. We go on to the stand-up challenge. I love the stand-up challenge, and we have a lot of really funny queens here, so that would be a great episode. Ultimately, I think Sasha Velour would place safe here when looking at how the other queens did in their stand-ups from their season, if they did any, or what I found online. And I think that, of course, Trixie, Bob, and Shea Coulee would be the top 3 of the week. Shea Coulee did really well on both of her stand-up challenges that she was on. I kind of think she should have won the stand-up challenge on All Stars 5, not gonna lie. Bob and Trixie, of course, do stand up on the regular and would excel in this, which automatically means that Katya, Kimchi, and Jujubee will be in the bottom. Now, Trixie and Bob, since they are professional comedians, will be the top 2 All-Stars of the week, and I thought that Kimchi and Katya would be in the bottom. I allowed Jujubee to be safe because her stand-up on All-Stars 5 was not bad at all. I saw Kimchi roast online, and that really was bad. I thought it really wasn't that great. And Katya's stand-ups that I found and that she did on All Stars 2, I wasn't that impressed by, sadly, either. So Jujubee will be placing safe at this point. Now, both Kimchi and Katya have won a challenge. Kimchi has been in the bottom before. Katya hasn't. The lip sync song this week will be Summertime Sadness by Lana Del Rey. We know that Trixie is I guess I can say, bad lip syncer, unfortunately, so Bob will win. Now, between Katya and Kimchi, it's not the clearest decision. I guess you could argue Kimchi's being the bottom now would automatically mean that she should go home. But Kimchi was in the top more often. She didn't win necessarily, but she was high. And Katya was low once and was more so safe than throughout the competition. And also due to the fact that Kimchi and Bob are very close friends, I will go ahead and assume that Bob will eliminate Katya here. I know, gag that Katya gets sent home now at this point, but it does not seem that crazy to me. Could be that Kimchi goes home, absolutely, but I was really thinking about it. Both of the track records kind of average out pretty much, and I guess Bob would value the fact that Kimchi has won and that they are close friends. It is ultimately RuPaul's best friend race, right? Now we go into the healthcare workers makeover. What do I mean by that? So of course we have a makeover each season. I thought since it's a pandemic, they could have like healthcare workers, like doctors, nurses, or whatever, be the stars of the makeover. Now we know, of course, who the look queens are and who are not. The placements therefore being that Kimchi, Shea, and Sasha are in the top 3. and Jujubee, Bob, and Trixie in the bottom. Now, I don't think I'm being crazy here, but Jujubee and Bob definitely not, but the tops definitely neither. I guess you could argue that Trixie isn't that bad. Like seamstress, she did well in the makeover challenges. It's more so an automatic placement because there has to be a bottom 3. So I guess it's more so due to that than her actually being bad. So the top 2 All-Stars of the week would be Kimchi and Shay. We have seen Shay and Sasha go up against one another in design challenges, and Shay has won. And Kimchi is, of course, probably the best designer in this group. Bob and Jujubee, clearly the worst in the group when it comes to these challenges, would be in the bottom. Now, I would have these two lip sync to Man by Dorian Electra. I love that song. I think it's a really fitting song for a drag competition. And I would have, of course, Shea Coulee win. Kimchi is not the best lip syncer. But yeah, Shea Coulee is really slaying since her comeback. This now being her second or third win now. So she has to decide between Bob and Jujubee. Of course, the safest thing to do would be, or the fairest thing to do would be to eliminate Jujubee. Bob has been slaying so far, but of course she could get rid of a competitor if she eliminated Bob. But I would assume her to be fair based on what she did on All Stars 5. So I'm gonna go ahead, and even though she was eliminated by Bob before, that she'll eliminate Jujubee. Though this could have gone another route, but I think she'll end up being fair because she really emphasized integrity on her season of All Stars 5. Now we go on to the Snatch Game. Pretty late in the season, now we only have a top 5. But I do like the idea of having a Snatch Game with very few competitors because you really get to focus in on everybody. Nobody gets to hide in the group in total, right? So we only have 5 competitors, not the Snatch Game of Love format like a normal Snatch Game, and I'm super excited because this was a really great lineup. I think the top 2 of the week would be Shay and Bob. Bob, of course, having done one of the best Snatch Games of all time, and Shea Coulee did 2 really good Snatch Games. Her, Naomi Campbell, and Flavor Flav were both really good, especially the Flavor Flav. So these would be the top 2. The bottom 2, of course, on the one hand, Trixie Mattel. Her RuPaul was one of the worst of all time, and Kimchi's Snatch Game, the Kim Jong-un parody of season 8, wasn't bad at all. It was absolutely safe, but I guess just out of process of elimination, unfortunately, Kimchi would be in the bottom 2 this week. I think Sasha Velour did a really good job with Melina Dietrich, so she would probably place high. Now, the lip sync song this week will be Tina Turner, Simply the Best, to have an oldie in there, and I really like that song. I think Bob would win a song like this, maybe more than Shay. Now, Bob is good friends with both Trixie and Kimchi, but I would assume that he would be fair here. He is apparently best friends with Trixie, if you listen to Sibling Rivalry, and Kimchi this would be her 3rd time, I think, in the bottom now, and Trixie did have a win, so it's time. Kimchi goes home 5th place, which I'm really surprised by. I wouldn't assume that she would make it this far. Now, a spin-off of the Your Pilot's on Fire challenge from season 9. Now your trailer's on fire, so movie trailers. Of course, we have 4 queens left. Since Bob won last week's challenge, he gets to decide with whom he wants to work, and I will go ahead and assume that she chooses Trixie because Trixie's a great writer, they have a great report, and I think Bob is smart to choose Trixie, which of course automatically brings back our old winning team with Shay and Sasha. So the plot of the episode could be, will they be able to meet their old pilot or trailer or whatever. I think they will do great, but I don't think they will compare to what Bob and Trixie would probably do. Both of them are super funny, their human matches really well, and I think they would come up with something crazy and hilarious. So Trixie and Bob get another win in before the finale, which means that Shay and Sasha are in the bottom. The lip sync song will be Troye Sivan's Bloom. I think that's a really fun song since it's of course a bit of an double entendre, no, not double entendre, but you know what I mean. Like the bloom stands for something. Again, I don't think Trixie will win, so it will be Bob that will have to decide. And I think that Bob, I mean, this is a difficult decision, right? Shea Coulee was eliminated, but once she came back, she actually won, I think, 4 challenges. Sasha was never eliminated. She has won 2 challenges, so not as many as Shay, even though Shay was eliminated. But this is also her very first time in the bottom. Now, track record advice, and I think Bob would be fair here because I don't think Bob has any animosity against anyone here. The decision becomes clear if you look at the numbers. Shea Coulee unfortunately is out due to the fact that her performance in the first 3 episodes was bad because she was not there for the last 2 and was eliminated in the first. And Shay unfortunately can't outweigh that completely with her great performance afterwards, whereas Sasha was a constant competitor, like in season 9, where she didn't necessarily have the most wins, but she was really steady, which made for a great track record ultimately. So unfortunately, Shea Coulee's redemption arc ends here. She could have been the first queen then to a returning queen that ends up being in the finale if we discard Down Under's stupidity, but yeah, unfortunately no. Now we enter to the finale. So we have 3 queens who would do a number, so some RuPaul song, and they would have their own verses. We will have some placements here too. I think that Trixie and Sasha would have pretty good verses, but nothing too particular or stand out as anything that we'll to write home about. But I think Bob, being the lyricist that he is, would do really well in this. No winners or bottoms here, but I think that Bob would place high, and you could consider Trixie and Sasha to be safe here. Now we will calculate who did the best, because in my version of All Stars, we will have a numbers-based report. So as you can see, it's a positive scale, 0 to 6, when you were eliminated, not in the episode, but if your status has been eliminated since the last episode, you get 0 points. Being in the bottom 2 in an episode is 1 point, low 2, safe 3, high 4, top 2, 5, and winning then a top 2 lip sync, 6 points. No, not additional 6 points, but then if you were the winner of the top 2. Now I calculated the scores for every queen, averaged them out, and here are the results. So you can see that Trixie averaged out to a perfect 3 without any decimal. So she had a perfectly safe performance on my All-Star season. Sasha Velour ends up with a score of 3.555. So her score ends up being in the middle between safe and high. Bob, on the other hand, though, absolutely slayed this. So he has a score of 4.55. So that's in the middle between high and winning, which is the best score, of course. So Trixie places 3rd, Sasha Velour places 2nd, and Bob the Drag Queen is our winner. So if you look at the rows below, you can see the eliminated queens in order of elimination. So Shay, the last queen eliminated, you can see her score was 2.5, so she won 1, 2, 3 challenges on her time since she came back, so that's pretty impressive. But unfortunately, though, those were only 4 episodes. Kim Shi did well up to her elimination, but was in the bottom, of course, 3 times. And then below that, we have no challenge winner besides Katya, and they all sort of rendered out to poor end results ultimately. Bob, of course, slayed this competition. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins, being in the bottom only once. So absolutely deserving, Bob the Drag Queen is the winner of my Fantasy All-Stars. Not too surprised. I guess I'm more surprised by the fact that Trixie made it to the finale, that Kim Shi ended up being the top 5, that Shea Coulee would be eliminated so early on and had her whole arc. But yeah, ultimately I think this would be an amazing season. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I would love to see, like to hear who your fantasy all-star season would include. Please write me that in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to dragged.mp4, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.